the underlying thread that kept her going even when it was hard, even when that scale didn't move the way she didn't want it to. She said, I know my why, and this is why I'm doing it. Here we are. She's well graduated from my program. She's lost 40 pounds and kept it off. She's like, somebody called me small the other day. I remember her telling me this story. Somebody called me small, and I was almost like, what? Me?
Who are you talking to?
The big girl. That goes to show you set that mindset in motion. You figure out what really drives you. Like, why do you really want to do this? Why is it important to you?
Thank you so much for joining us on another awesome episode of Bioenergetics Beat. I'm Heather Gray, a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and certified bioenergetic practitioner, and today is brought to you by Nikki, Unleash the Wellness Within. It's a non-invasive, easily affordable, highly effective approach to wellness. It's a wearable device that puts frequency better based life in your hands and on your wrist. You're going to want to stick to the very end because we have a wonderful giveaway you're not going to want to miss out on. But as usual, you're not going to want to miss out on one thing that my next guest has to say because we're talking about a topic that is so near and dear to so many of our hearts, including my own little journey that I've been dealing with off and on. So without further ado, let's welcome Shay Pascale to the show. Yay!
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So a fellow FDN, when did you
Yes.
graduate?
2.5 years ago or so, something like that.
Oh, okay, so you're so new. I
So
graduated in
new.
2013.
Oh my God.
I'm like an OG. I
You
think there
are
was
an
only like
OG.
one or two before me, classes before me. But yeah, so
Mhm.
I've seen it change a lot.
Yes.
And I have actually a lot of respect for you folks that have graduated now because I used to say that if I had to take the test where it's evolved now, I'm not sure I would pass just because
Hmm.
of how much meatier and in depth it's gotten since once it started. So God
Hmm.
bless you.
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
So I know for a fact most people don't go through FDN without having some pain to purpose story. So tell
Mhm.
us about you, my dear. Like
Yeah,
what brought you here?
absolutely. Okay. So I was always into fitness, right? And I remember when I was like 24, 25, I went to like a more sit down corporate job and I started to be like, oh my God, I don't recognize myself. And then I got into fitness, right? And because I was always an athlete as a kid, like a gymnast, that kind of thing. And I started to be like, okay, none of my pants fit. What's going on? And then I went through about 8 years of trial and error of like, how do I work out? How do I eat? What do I do? Very confused, like yo-yo diet, like tried it all, low calories. Oh, 1,200 calories makes the scale go down. Ooh, this works, great. But never could sustain that, right? And I wanted to also like enjoy life. Like I liked being social. I like going out. I like having a glass of wine. I like a margarita, whatever. Like I like to go out. I like to have fun. And yet, all the while, I was dealing with IBS and
Mm,
hormonal issues for sure that I didn't recognize at the time as being something that, you could do anything about. I just kind of thought this is the card I was dealt because that's kind of what the doctors basically said, like, we can't really do anything about your IBS, right? So, um, I got into health coaching by the time I was in my early 30s. I started coaching nutrition. I got like precision nutrition certification. I had a blog. I started to have, enough like people interested in that. And I went full time in 20, I think 21. So been about almost 5 years or so of coaching. And then I started to notice closer to 34, 35 years old, a lot of these like early perimenopause symptoms, this fatigue that was crippling. My skin was so broken out, and I'm like, the skin is only getting worse when I feel like it should be getting better. They always say you'll grow out of it. And I didn't grow out of it. So then the fatigue hit me, the insomnia hit me, anxiety. IBS was like really bad, hormone chaos. I ended up having surgery for fibroids. All of this stuff just compounded. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, all I want to do is go to the gym and work out and like, be lifestyle lean and have a good life. Like I just want to live, but I was eating healthier than anyone I knew. I was
mm.
working out like more than most average people, right? Like, so I was like, this isn't adding up. Like my lifestyle doesn't match how I feel. and how I look, like with the acne, was like I didn't even want to go. I didn't want to leave the house. So I was like, okay. I go to the doctor. They run the labs. Everything's normal. You're healthy, right? Like, keep doing what you're doing. I'm like, that's not why I'm here. Like, okay, what's going on? So I knew there had to be a better answer. And so, of course, I did digging, found functional diagnostic nutrition, and immediately resonated with their message. And I was like, okay, I think I'm just going to do it because I was already coaching people full time at this point, and I had noticed certain clients of mine, especially 30s, 40s, 50s women, I would program their macros, I would tell them what to eat, I would tell them how to work out, and I would not see anything change. And I was like, what is happening? But then, like another group of people, it would work. Right. And so I was like, what's happening here? And I had to educate myself further. And I found out through FDN there's a lot more going on under the hood here that we even ever know about and talk about and nobody knows about. And I found out through running a GI map, it was listed all over my labs why I was having like horrible gas bloating, diarrhea, constipation, stomach pains, all of this stuff. My first parasite cleanse, I was like, oh my Lord, what is coming out of me? And then the healing journey eventually, started, right? There was a little bit of a reset phase, if you will, or like a remove phase, went through the gut healing process. And fast forward, here I am in better health at 39 years old. I feel like I'm able to maintain my weight so easily. Now, I don't track everything I ate like I used to in my 20s. It was like every little thing went to an app, you know what I mean? I was psycho about it before. Now I'm just like, I don't even, it's just like a system. And so rinse and repeat every day. I maintain my weight. I work out 3 or 4 days a week. It's chill, and it's like I want to teach people that because I lived through the yo-yo dieting chaos that then turned into what people might call perimenopause, but really it was just like metabolic chaos under the hood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. How many of you can, relate to this story? I know I certainly can. And I remember when I was getting cystic acne at the age of like 35, and I was like, and it was painful. It wasn't just,
Mhm.
wasn't vanity. I mean,
Yeah.
it hurt. It
Yeah.
hurt. It
It was
hurt.
horrible.
And to be that age and be like, why am I still dealing with this? This is
Hmm.
insane. And so,
Hmm.
yeah, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive deeper into how to break these chains, get some tips that you can take home today and start implementing to turn this around. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Nikki Wellness Technology, delivering frequency enhanced health.
It looks like a little watch, but it's actually a frequency device. It's bioenergetic, so it has this little frequency light situation that goes into your arm.
This is my Nikki. It is a bioenergetic wearable that works by emitting a specific frequency carried by a red light, as you can see on the back. It's aimed at enhancing the body's natural healing process to improve wellness and reducing stress, pain, and inflammation. And to select a frequency, you tap it to wake it up, and then you slide to the screens that list the different frequencies. I have wellness or Lyme on mine. So if we want to pick one, we just tap on it and you'll see the circles around, and there's a play button, play areas, tap there, and you can see the colors radiating that show that it's playing. And you would also see the red light on the back. And to stop, you just tap it again, and then you can slide and select a different frequency. I'm going to play afternoon. And you just tap, and away you go for your afternoon.
So they're two different things. You have the Nikki device, and then you have the frequency sets. And so right now they have the wellness set of frequencies, and they are absolutely incredible. So I absolutely love them.
Nikki Wellness Technology, delivering frequency enhanced health. We are Nikki.com.
Awesome. Welcome back. Well, are you excited to dig into the nuts and bolts of, how to break free from these chains? Because It's a horrible cycle, especially a lot of middle-aged women get sucked into, and then we feel like that we're wrong, that we've done something wrong, that we're broken, that we, why can't I figure this out? And then life gets to be so restricted, and it isn't fun. And that was part of actually kind of what helped me break my chains is moving to Mexico. And I just was like, I'm not going to worry about a lot of the same things that I used to worry about back in the States. I'm going to relax a little bit and see how this goes. And it was amazing how things just kind of, I was like, lost 25 pounds right off the bat in the first month, and I was drinking margaritas and eating tacos, but, so, yeah, we're going to dive into that. I know. So tell us a little bit about some of the tools that you use, some of the mindset things that you do to kind of help break the chains of this.
Okay. So what I kind of like the process I even take my clients through, what I do myself, it's like you first got to figure out where your metabolism sits, track your food for 7 days, right? Figure out what you're eating, what it looks like, and then get a baseline of your macronutrients. And I think this is a big thing. It's like people focus on calories, and I'm like, well, actually, if you focus on macros and like getting enough protein, getting the right food choice, that's going to just right there off the bat, like help you drop body fat and build muscle, right? So we get out of this cycle of, oh, I need to lower my calories. Oh, I need to like drop, cut, remove, whatever. It's more about what can I bring into my food plan and how can I work out to build muscle and eat for muscle. And that feels a lot more I don't know, like abundance mindset, if you will, versus lack mindset. Like, you know what I mean? So that's first of like, let's flip the switch on how you've been thinking about how to eat, and instead let's do this, okay? So
Well, for
then,
those, hold on real quick. For
yep.
those that don't know, what are macros, micros? Could you
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
break that down a little bit, please?
Absolutely. So macronutrients are protein, carbs, and fats. They are the building blocks of what your calories are made up of. So every has some sort of caloric value, but how it breaks down from protein, carbs, and fat, like protein would be, ground beef, but it would also have some sort of fat content because there's fat in ground beef, but it's not going to have any carbs, right? Whereas a banana is almost mostly carbs, for example, right? So every food, when you start to understand what your plate is made up of, that feels like, oh, I can control this more because I know what's on my plate. I know what I'm consuming and the ratios of everything. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Macros would be more like micronutrients for your vitamins, your minerals, those kinds of things that are like we break it down even further. So something like a banana might have, you always hear like bananas have potassium. Potassium would be your micros in that. Okay.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Okay, so we've got the food. We got to make sure we're working out for muscle. And when we stop, being the cardio bunny, when we stop doing Peloton workouts, when we stop doing, your whatever fitness plan that you're following on YouTube, the YouTuber that you love, like we train strategically with progressive overload for 3 to 4 hours per week. That's when our body flips this switch of like, oh, you're eating for muscle, you're working out for muscle. Muscle must be important here. Let's keep that. We don't need this extra fat because we're focused on this muscle building effect. Literally flipping the switch, okay? And then that's kind of like the fitness side of the house, the functional side, if you will, or like the gut.
Hold on.
Mhm,
So you use another term that most people might not be familiar
mhm.
with. What's functional overload?
Progressive overload.
Progressive overload. Thank you.
Yes. So progressive overload is when we are increasing our weight that we are lifting. So if I do like a chest press right here, right? Like I'm pushing my hands out from my chest and I'm holding dumbbells, maybe I'm laying on a bench. Okay. People think of it as like bench press. So if I'm bench pressing and I 1 week am able to do 3 sets of 15 pounds each in each hand, 15 pounds, right? 3 sets of like 10. Cool, I can do those 3 sets of 10. And then next week, oh, this feels a little light. I'm able to do like 12 or 14 of the same weight. Great. That's now progressively overloading because you're adding more reps. Or I could just go maybe the next week after that, I go up in weight instead of 15s, I'm holding now 20s in each hand. And I can't get 14. I can only get 8 reps of those. So I do 3 sets of 8, but it's at a higher weight. Do you see how the increase of weight, either amount of reps or weight in hand, is increasing over time?
Absolutely. Even though you did touch on it just briefly of, it flips the script of, losing fat to gain more muscle, but why is muscle so important, especially to middle-aged women?
Um, you are losing, it's a great question. You are losing muscle since you turned 30, roughly, we'll call it 30 years old. And so since you're losing muscle, it's part of the aging process, and you are dropping your kind of metabolic rate, or your amount of calories you burn just sitting here doing nothing at rest. So if we're dropping our metabolic rate and somebody comes to me and they're like 38 years old and they're like, Shay, I feel like my metabolism is broken, right? I'm like, okay, let me look at your history. There's been no weight training. There's been no building back that muscle loss. This is usually part of that root cause, right? So we need to be building back the muscle that we have lost since we were maybe like late 20s, early 30s, right somewhere in there, to keep this increase in your metabolism over time. Because you think about it, when people are in their like 60s, 70s, like what do we see in these people? Like we see them not able to get off the ground, right? We see them falling more often. We see them breaking more bones or things, right? And I just saw this with my dad. He fell off his bike and he like totally broke his collarbone. I'm like, it was a very simple fall, but he broke it, right? Because he hasn't built that muscle. So this is the key to really that longevity. If you want long term, I want to be able to get on the play with my grandkids kind of thing, like muscle is your key to that freedom.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time to break that down a little bit more. I'm like, wait, wait, wait.
Yeah, great
All
question.
right. Go ahead and move on to the next one.
So, I think your initial question was around like, how do we do this? What are the tools?
Yep.
How are we like resolving these complex, like getting out of the dieting cycle, right? So, part of it is that side of it, the nutrition, the fitness side. The other side of it is like what I call like the functional health side or the root cause, looking at what's going on under the hood, the body, right? What is your gut telling us? What are your hormones maybe telling us? And what other, maybe functional lab testing can we use to figure out and piece these clues together to figure out why this person might be having their specific set of symptoms. So if somebody's come to me, for example, I have this bloating is everybody, right? Anytime you hear a client anymore, it's like, I have bloating, right? Well, why do we have bloating? And a lot of times people want to just narrow in on, well, I went to my doctor, they did a SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth test on me. And they said I have SIBO and they gave me an antibiotic. Cool. Did that go away? Yeah, but then it came back. Okay, that's the repeat thing I hear all the time. I'm just giving you this small example. However, when we only look at SIBO as the diagnosis and the treatment, we are missing the rest of the GI tract. We are missing kind of the rest of the body. And so what happens is these types of issues tend to resurface because we're just so narrowed in, when in reality, we're a whole one connected being. Like, you know this, Heather, as like an FDN, we're a whole connected being. And we have to look at the full body and not just narrow in on these small little things and diagnoses. So I encourage anyone to be like, why don't we release the diagnosis for a second and let's run a little bit more comprehensive of testing to piece together what actually could be going on with you hormonally, gut related, like not just your SIBO and your bacterial overgrowth, but how's your liver functioning? How's your pancreatic enzymes functioning? How are you digesting fats? What pathogens might be present aside from these bacterial overgrowths? Is there candida there? Like just zooming out a little bit on the gut alone can be really impactful for somebody. But when you start to piece together all of these, clues of, oh, you have this symptoms, oh, you have headaches, oh, you don't sleep well. Like when we start to piece together all of these other things, as an FDN, we're able to put all those pieces together and say, okay, here's kind of like a plan to address all of you versus such a narrow focus. And I find when we put together all of those pieces of the puzzle, addressing, fitness, nutrition, under the hood gut hormone issues all at once, that's the key that gets people out of their highly symptomatic mode, like I was, like I told you earlier, resolve some of these symptoms in your way with the labs and the supplement protocols and things like that with nutrition, and so that you can like do what you want to do within life, build the muscle that you deserve to build so you can have that longevity.
Absolutely. It's so fascinating to me too with hormones, how much hormones play into especially weight loss. And that's, something that doctors very rarely look at, especially when you go in and you're talking about weight loss. But man, once I dialed in my hormones at any stage in my life, it was amazing how everything else was just like, okay, how to work properly because they're just the master conductors of so
Hmm.
many different aspects in our body. And man, if your hormones are out of whack, if your liver's out of whack, if your gut's
Hmm.
out of whack, like the best diet, the lower amount of calories in the world is not going to help you lose weight. And so that's why this bigger approach, this systemic approach, holistic approach is so necessary. And why, it might have worked in our 20s, when we're still young and our adrenals were still kind of working and our hormones were still somewhat kind of balanced. But then we get into our 30s and things start to kind of crash and fall apart, where we start to pay for the sins of our 20s in our
Oh, totally.
30s, right? And then we got to, like patchwork quilt, our Humpty Dumpty, start putting things back
Oh
together
my
again. But you can't just focus on the SIBO. So
God.
thank
Uh-huh.
you. So many people
Yeah.
take that diagnosis and then they run with it, and you're like, no, no, no. Why was the SIBO there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Whole body approach all the way.
Absolutely. So what are some of the things that you do for mindset? Because that's also, a huge part in this healing process,
Yeah.
especially breaking the chains. When you talk about breaking the chains, that, very much sounds like a mental, emotional,
Totally.
component as well.
Hmm. I am a huge believer in mindset as kind of the part of the foundational like root of where we start. So when I first started with a client, I created something called the new identity worksheet. So I'm a big believer in, you know, you get what you think about most of the time, right? You are who you think you are, basically, right? And I have a specific worksheet that takes people through like how do you see yourself now? Like what is the who is the person that you see yourself as now? Write that out and you'd be surprised. Like most people have never done anything like that before. Like putting it on paper does something because we might think to ourselves, oh my God, I'm so overweight. It's just, I'm an embarrassment. Like people think like that, you're going to get more of that, right? And so I almost make them see their own thoughts on paper first. And then we can kind of be like, okay, here's where we are, right? And then kind of take them through this process of, okay, what's something you're good at now? What's something that you feel like to like kind of flip the script? Okay, I feel bad about myself because of, but then what is something you're good at? It could be I'm a great mom. It could be I'm great at um, crocheting. It could be I'm great at, just being on time. I don't care. Whatever it is, you're going to put something there and we're going to remember we're not bad at everything, essentially. And then we go into a couple more questions to help someone identify who it is they want to be. What do they want to see themselves as? When you look in the mirror, what do you want to think and say about yourself? And remove any blocks of what you think you should be or how you're not there now. Just put it out there, right? And it feels really uncomfortable for some people to do that. It feels really like, um, this doesn't feel real, so why am I putting this down, right? And so working through that process alone kind of helps reveal a lot of mental, emotional blocks that someone might have right there. And so then we can kind of talk through that and we can identify why that might be, and then also be like, okay, but it's okay to feel that and also want this. It's okay to have both of those things be true of I feel this way, but I want to feel this way. And already like putting your desires out there, I'm a big believer that like when you start to really identify with who you want to be and what you want to become, that starts it in motion, right? And then we have some affirmations. I teach people affirmations. I give people some like maybe like a podcast recommendation or something like that if I feel like it would benefit them, some books or something like that that would benefit them to help rewire their brain for being successful instead of feeling in this stuck place. So that's one of my favorite sort of tools we start a brand new client on. And I literally had a client who went through that, and she's like, I've never done anything like this before. She's spent 30 years trying to diet, trying to eat less. She'd bring her food to every social function. She would work out more than anyone she knew. She's like, I just am the big girl. That's an identity thing, right? That I'm the big girl. I'm, I try everything and nothing works. That's an identity, right? So when we did this exercise with her, she finally uncovered what she calls her true or deep why, which is kind of like a secondary part of this identity stuff. She figured out why she was doing this. And she said, it is the thing that made your program, Shay, work more than any other program I had tried. And I had tried a lot of them, right? She was hesitant to join. And she's like, okay, yeah, we worked on macros and we worked on workouts and we did gut health and hormones, all of those things. But the underlying thread that kept her going, even when it was hard, even when that scale didn't move the way she didn't want it to. She said, I know my why, and this is why I'm doing it. Here we are. She's well graduated from my program. She's lost 40 pounds and kept it off. She's like, somebody called me small the other day. I remember her telling me this story. Somebody called me small, and I was almost like, what? Me?
Who are you
The
talking
big,
to?
the big girl. That goes to show you set that mindset in motion. You figure out what really drives you. Like, why do you really want to do this? Why is it important to you? And because there's a difference between someone who's like, oh yeah, I want to lose weight. I desire to lose weight. And there's another type of person that's like, I'm committed to it. I just don't really know how because I've been stuck in this mindset. And she was the latter and she committed to it. She figured out her why. She focused on the mindset and it led her to success.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny when I was working with clients myself, I had them start off with reading Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, right? Like just in the title, Breaking
Yeah.
the Habit of Being Yourself, because there was just so many aha moments. And
Mhm.
I remember one client in particular, she still couldn't even grasp the concepts in the book because they were just so foreign to her.
Mhm.
It's just not something we've been taught for way too long to focus only on the physical and that it's a physical problem and magic happens when we focus on
Mm.
the whole body, mental, spiritual, emotional, physical. So thank you for bringing all that in. So we're at the end here. That's the shameless plug time of the show. So how can people find you and work with you, and what are you putting out there these days?
Yeah, great. So you can find me on Instagram at The Body Bulletin. You can find me on my website, thebodybulletin.com. You can go to my masterclass, which is like I break everything down step by step, thebodybulletin.com/masterclass. And then over on TikTok, I kind of just start over there at Shay Pascale. So all of those places you can find me. You can DM me if you have any questions. I've got tons of resources and bios and things like that.
Awesome. So make sure to check out her stuff in the show notes. And then while you're there, also go to wearenikki.com/podcast, enter in bio beats for 10% off. And because we love our clients so much, the way we show appreciation is we give away a Nikki device and a 1-year membership to the wellness store once a month. So make sure to go to the show notes to enter. Good luck. Wanted to talk about March's winner. March, we just drew the winner, and that is, what do we have? Joseph Gibson. Congratulations, you won a free Nikki device and a 1-year subscription to the wellness store. Everybody else, good luck next time, and make sure to keep listening, share, like, and subscribe as we continue to put out this message of health and healing, because that is how we get the next person who, again, did all the right things and nothing's moving, right? This is how we help every single person out there, the ripple effect. Thank you for joining us and have a healthy day.
Thank you.
What is the wellness store, you ask? Let me tell you. Imagine a single place where every Nikki wellness program, present and future, are ready whenever you are. The Nikki Wellness Store turns that vision into reality, offering a membership that keeps you connected to the most complete library of wellness support programs we've ever created. One membership, infinite access. With a Nikki Wellness Store membership, unlimited access to the full Nikki Wellness library, automatic updates as new programs are released, the freedom to create personalized daily playlists on the Nikki Connect app, and we continually design new programs. Your membership will grow with you at no additional cost. Because wellness technology never stops improving, and neither do you. It's more than a membership. Every wellness store membership begins with the purchase of their Nikki Wellness Technology, a wearable device that delivers wellness programs wherever life takes you. Your membership includes 1 full year of unlimited access to the complete wellness library and all future program releases. After the first year, your access continues with a simple annual renewal fee, so your library and collaborations with trusted global innovators keeps growing without interruption. This isn't just an upward, it's a movement toward a future where wellness technology never stops improving, because neither do you. Join the movement. The Nikki Wellness Store isn't just a milestone, it's the future of wellness designed for freedom, value, and constant growth. New customers that join us will automatically get 1 year membership to the Nikki Wellness Store. Current customers that have already owned a Nikki, you will be grandfathered in and given a 2 year membership. And that's a thank you for walking with us for all this time.
There's a new word for wellness, Nikki. Nikki is your personal wellness companion, a sleek wearable device that lets you choose from a variety of programs to match your day. With a simple tap on the Nikki screen, you can explore wellness programs created for different moments and lifestyles. Need a lift? Select energy. Looking to unwind? Tap stress and anxiety. Want to feel more at ease? Choose pain. Heading out on a trip? Try travel to help you feel ready for new adventures. From busy mornings to quiet evenings, Nikki puts a variety of wellness experiences right at your fingertips and on your wrist. Life moves fast. Nikki moves with you. It's a portable way to bring wellness technology into your everyday routine, wherever life takes you. Your day, your choice, your wellness program. Nikki Wellness Technology. Delivering frequency-enhanced health. We are Nikki.com. The views, information, and opinions expressed in this content are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of Freemedica. Freemedica Technologies, Inc. and its employees are not responsible, nor verifies accuracy any of the information contained in the following content. The primary purpose of this content is to educate and inform. This content does not constitute medical or other professional advice or services.